Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Future Proofed. I am your host, Kyle Coleman, and I'm really excited to be joined today by Srinivas Attili from Juniper Networks. And Srini, we're going to get a whole background of your career and where you've been and what you do now. But first, how are you today, my friend?
Thanks, Kyle. I'm doing well, and I'm excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Likewise, we've spoken with chief marketing officers, we've spoken with VPs of sales and CROs. We've never spoken with somebody who is as technical as you are, somebody who's leading a center of excellence with respect to data and AI for an enterprise company. So I'm really, really excited for this conversation. Before we jump into your current role, let's hear a little bit about your background. Who are you? Where have you been?
Excellent. My career spans over 2 decades, and I have done a lot of roles. And I often joke like I map my career with what they call OSI layers, starting from cabling all the way up to applications, and I have done everything. So, but majority of my career, I started at Intel, and I was managing IT operations. I was, taking care of several IT infrastructure projects at Intel. And then I moved to IBM and I was the program manager at IBM, and I managed several complex projects across different domains of IT infrastructure, networks, enterprise application, data center consolidation, one of the huge complex areas of thing. And there is let's learn about domain called autonomic computing, which is predecessor for what we call auto remediations, if you know Meta and all, they use these concepts. I was also working on server virtualization before the word cloud computing became famous. And this is almost like 18 years ago. So, and then at Unisys, I had an opportunity to start enterprise PMO management process days. I started it from ground up. I grew it to 170 plus practitioners under my management, and we used to deliver like 300 plus projects a quarter. That's how crowded or how busy our PMO used to be at Unisys. And then at Juniper, I had an opportunity to start marketing analytics and data science. It's almost like 10, 11 years ago. And we were solving advanced analytic problems to deliver business. So that's, in short, 20,000 feet overview of my career.
20 years of a career in 180 seconds. That was awesome, Sri. So now you've been at Juniper for 11 years. You've been, and based on that little career overview, you've been on the forefront of, 4 or 5 different technological waves. And now AI is the latest technological wave that you are riding here. And so I'm very interested in understanding the role of a center of excellence for data and for AI. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're specifically focused on the marketing organization, or do you have a broader purview?
I do. So I'll just take you through once like a day in the life looks like, right? So our center of excellence is an evolution of our marketing analytics and data science. So in the early days, we used to call out MAD scientists. MAD is an acronym, marketing analytics and data science team. And it's an evolution of that idea to focus or bring AI first technology. So in everything, we would like to see AI can be adopted, or AI can be the leading driver. So that's the intent behind establishing and driving this. So primarily, our CMO is our business leader and our primary stakeholder. However, our remit extends across. Any business leader who needs an insight or who needs an information or who wants us to disclose something, they are told. Right? So it goes from strategy to services, to GDM, and every function where we do a lot of ad hoc research, project-driven insights, and all those kind of things. So we would say we focused on marketing and GDM, but we deliver insights across the business.
It's very impressive. So internal stakeholders are anybody who comes to you, prove or disprove, help me substantiate an argument. And that's really interesting. So maybe give us an example of a type of project, and maybe for the sake of this conversation, because many of our listeners are marketing stakeholders, I'd love to hear about a marketing oriented project that
Correct.
you are working on with Gene English, the CMO at Juniper.
So I'll give you a flavor of what kind of projects we work first, and then I'll dive into one of the
Great.
right. And listen, like our mandate is twofold. The first one is we are seen as a team of experts in AI and ML, and we guide rest of the teams in using tools like Copy.ai's feature, or I deliver prompt engineering training to our marketing colleagues. Or the second mandate is owning and driving generative AI roadmap we have. And for doing all that, having a solid data foundation is very so. Uh, so our traditional projects involve data pipelines, business systems integration. Doing a lot of projects in the areas of traditional ML. It sounds funny to call it traditional ML because ML was cutting edge until last year, right? A couple of years ago. Like we have worked on advanced analytic projects, including cross-sell, upsell, propensity modeling, ideal customer profiles, multi-touch attribution, one of the biggest complex projects.
Oh,
We did market mix modeling. We worked on predictive intent models. We did a lot of experimentation and proving, and we have worked on several such productionizing several such use cases. Our generative AI roadmap focuses on what you call operate with speed and scale, right? So it's not just speed, but also how you scale up these operations. So we drive hyper-personalization using task chaining and automation. And we use Copy.ai as a content creation tool in that chaining. And we developed the internal chatbot that helps the users with any sort of information that they're looking for, like whether it is they're looking for a metric, they're looking for the latest campaign data, all those kind of things. So we use text to SQL, we use RAG modeling to answer any questions, or we can even create some context-aware task chaining. Like, for example, how can I achieve this? We'll walk them through, do these kind of things, including go here, raise a ticket, or talk to this team to that kind of level. So that's what we literally call a assist to help the marketers a lot. So those are the flavor of things. We also, one of the very important aspects is we have a homegrown AI safety model. Right? So this safety model goes beyond what the industry standard. We look for what's our brand voice, what are the, go on no type of statements from a brand perspective, and certain standards that we set, like in terms of how truthful the information should be and all those kind of things. So we built a homegrown model that parses everything that comes out of every tool before it can even go to this. So those are the basics.
very interesting. I want to double click on that in a moment, Srini, that the homegrown safety model, perhaps maybe a little bit about AI governance and how you're thinking about that. This is very top of mind for many enterprise leaders. But before we do that, I want to double click on a different topic, which you mentioned you're using AI for a lot of this hyper personalization for every touch point. I was recently interviewed at the end of last year, I believe, Jean English, who's a CMO at Juniper. And she was talking through the program, focus on the results that you've been driving. So if you missed that podcast episode, I highly recommend it. But just want to shout this out because you're responsible for helping drive a 9x increase in open rates, 46% increase in conversion from lead to meeting. And ultimately, Jean said certain inbound channels are seeing 4 to 5 times as much demand generation. And it's from something as seemingly as simple, but obviously very complicated, as hyper-personalized email touches. Of course, these personal emails are performing better, but it's very hard to operationalize. Those are amazing business outcomes.
Right. You're true. In fact, we call it the real-time activation. That's our internal reference name for the project. And we started this like a proof of concept first, right? So last year we created a proof of concept with Gene, and we said, hey, we can do that. Gina is like, why are you not even doing this already? Right. So going, go test it. Right. So, our CEO has great support for us. So we went in, did a very small experiment, even whether it works or not. Right. And that blew us away. Right. So in terms of open rates, in terms of click-through rates of the email metric, they have multiple access which we cannot see. However, that prototype was small. So I said, okay, let's expand it and see how it scales. Right? And we went in next iteration, we did several thousands of hyper-personalized email. So, and not only the batch or email, we actually created a mechanism where we were monitoring on the landing pages and in a typical cart abandonment action, like
Sure.
doing the follow-up using a hyper message. So we did that, and we exceeded our, thought process of how many we will be able to send the messages. We we did end up sending 3x the amount of messages that we thought we would actually the real time system, and that generated um, 9x, engagement of all those kind of things. And this all happens within a minute. Somebody coming there and going, because that's in context, right? So, and we also learn few things where what not to do is, right? Because this is always like experiment, through, learn what doesn't work and all. So that's a process. And by mid last year, we went live with real-time monitoring of our web analytics, incoming web analytics in real time, and taking action on hyper-personalized follow-up, global nudges and all that is being, implemented last year.
That's
So
amazing.
that is the one which is delivering the 9x engagement and the cascading effect into demand generation efficiency and all. And we also did something which is a bit more fundamental. We also changed the way we were scoring our leads. So we went with a very sophisticated machine learning model. We started scoring leads as they come in context, and we started generating lead descriptions using generative AI to help the marketers, help the SDRs and sales reps understand why this is in scored this. So it is a handshake between ML expertise, generative AI to help explainability, reliability, of those insights. That is the combination both that achieve 45% upside in the lead generation conversion.
Uh, It's amazing. I love that the ML expertise, the AI expertise, combined with the domain expertise of the stakeholders that you create. This has always been the secret sauce of real impactful data science, and the same is true with these AI best practices. You mentioned cart abandonment, and really this mindset, Srini. What you got me thinking about it is you've been at Intel and Unisys and Juniper, and you've been at many B2B companies, but it sounds like you have these B2C principles that are impacting a lot of the way you're thinking about this hyper personalized journey and how you're creating the experience for every individual user. Do you have B2C DNA as part of the Center of Excellence, as part of the data analytics team?
Oh, no, we are actually B2B. Yeah, plus because Juniper is a B2B company. We do study B2C tactics
Sure.
very well. However, we try to identify how we can adopt that B. For example, well, our journey doesn't end with head shopping, right? So we hand it over to sales, follow it up.
Right.
So we need to adapt to that. And this is where multi-touch attribution quite difficult in a B2B scenario. So we do all that. But yeah, we adopt a lot of to see tactics and try to modify it and use it in the B2B. But we do operate in B2B.
Sure. Yeah. And I love that the way that that's infusing across your thinking, because now with the right ML, with the right generative AI strategy, you can effectively, I'll use a word, it's probably not the right word, but just for the sake of a comparison, you can create this algorithm internally for every individual lead and what the right context is to share with the sales team, how
Right.
best follow up with that person. It's similar in some ways, not every way, to the way that, the metas of the world, Facebook, Instagram, are creating an algorithm to feed the users the exact right thing at the right time. And you can be so much more programmatic now through a B2B lens, that obviously the impact is tremendous.
You're absolutely correct, right? Yeah, because having all the ingredients and the foundation, the data foundation, the analytics strength, and bringing it AI, infusing the AI is a success formula, right? So AI doesn't happen in vacuum or in isolation. You need all of this support system to make it.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you mentioned this personalization project and the way it came to life. I'm curious because you're managing now. I don't know if it's going to be like your project management office was, where you had 370 projects per quarter, but yeah, I'm sure that you are a popular person inside the walls of Juniper. How do projects come to life? Are these bottoms up initiatives? Are these tops down initiatives? Is it some combination? How do you decide what to do and what not to do?
No, I think it's a very good what is a combination of both bottoms up and top down as well. For example, my philosophy, any technology that will bring it up when they go gung ho. Like 10 years ago, I was talking about big data, for example. That's one of my use case, and I started with this case. So similarly, every time I ask my team first find the limitations of the technology. So everybody will be talking about what it can do, but we try to find what it cannot do or what we should not use it for rather. So and when ChatGPT came in, by the time we are already working on NLP kind of algorithms, we have years of experience of ML and other things. So my first ask from the team is, hey, what it can do is one part, what it cannot find its limitations, right? So,
Sure.
so we very early on, we went and understood hallucination, how hallucination gets used, in what scenarios, what should we do to avoid uh, different experimentation that we did. And one of the things is culture of this experimenting and identifying thing that is supported by the management. So we partnered with even our engineering because Juniper AI is its core, right? So
Right.
it's in our product DNA. So we went and worked with our colleagues under Marvis team. And our challenge is in the very early days, there are very few open source LLMs that can yes. So we took one, we tried it in a way that, it's a partnership with our engineering team and my team. We tried it in a way to pass network certification. So Juniper has a network certification levels. Now we tried it in a way that it can clear the network certification. In fact, it cleared it with a very high average than any other automated tool should ever do. And those are the kind of experiments that we bring in, and then we bubble this out to our management. And the other one is the management itself, our CEO and everybody is aware that we need to adopt AI everywhere. It's not just in our product, in our operations and everywhere. So having a corporate level generative AI roadmap helped us. We had a steering committee with our CTO and CIO, both of chairing that. Every department brought something to the table, and we are one of departments which are early adopters. Everybody has something. So having that focus from top to down, bottom, helped us. And our way of experimenting something, taking the proof of concept, showcasing it, and then testing it out and proving that's the way we did. Right, as I mentioned, in the real time activation project, it's a small proof of concept. We took it to CMO, and she's like, "What are you waiting for? Just what does it?" So from there, like small A/B testing to larger scale, deploying it in much larger scale. And in fact, last year we delivered tens of thousands of hyper-personalized messages. And this is not bombarding the same person; it's about context aware based on various things. And so we learn what not to do. We learn podcasts. And so when you do something at scale, even prompts will drift. Right? So a prompt that worked for 5 iterations thrift if you run it for 5,000 times. So those are the things. So we have learned a lot about those kind of, you know, tricks and implement those things and educate others as well. So that's a journey. So it is both a enthusiasm from bottoms up, bubbling up these experiments, and management leadership, recognizing that this is something that is needed for us to succeed. So it's a handshake, I would say.
Right.
That's what works.
But the role that you're playing though, Srini, is critical because what I've seen at many companies is if there's bottoms up enthusiasm and people are going and they're getting one-off tools. Hey, I got an enterprise license to ChatGPT. Okay, useful, but probably not going to be transformative in its value. And similarly, if there's enthusiasm from the CEO and she says, our AI strategy is, but he gets a ChatGPT license. People are like, what do we do? And so your role as that person who's harnessing a lot of that enthusiasm, finding the right stakeholders on the executive team at the practitioner level to coordinate, find projects, vet them, bring them to life. Like that's a critical role. And so I'm curious, but we talked about the personalized emails and the unbelievable impact. Do you have any other stats or proof points around the impact that some of these projects have brought to bear for Juniper?
Yes, as I mentioned, or some of this you already heard, we had like 9x open rates for the emails that we talked about 46% higher conversion rates. And again, this is scoring it right, providing the description, and allowing people to do photosylex, demand generation, and all those kind of things. So what we have also experimented uh, in context, near real-time follow-ups always had higher engagement, right? So instead of taking a cold audience and trying to pump something, whether it's hyper-personalized or not, have less deception versus you are going in front of them in context and trying to understand which stage of the journey they are, the buyer's journey they are, and provide them the relevant context, cut the bucket for the user.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that has a very high engagement and conversion rate compared to spray and pray methods where you just keep picking up tons and tons of things, or same person is targeted by multiple campaigns. So how we can avoid that, who gets the right of way, and managing that in a data-driven. So what's the next best? Take on what is the way, target someone, are they receptive to a certain tactic versus the other tactic? What would be the best message? All those kind of things. Instead of the tribal knowledge, now we are going with um, predictive model to experiment.
Right. Right.
Those
Right.
are some of the things that work well. So that's
It's such an amazing evolution. It reminds me of what we were so excited. We B2B marketers were so excited when marketing automation was starting to become more of a thing, Marketo and Eloqua and those companies, because we were able to segment our database into broad, personas. Hey, now we can differentiate. How are we reaching out to a CMO versus a director of demand gen? Great. And that was, so amazing. But it was always limited by the technology, but also limited by the time that humans had to create the nurture flows for all those various personas and all the rest. What you have talked about, this program that you've brought to life for hyper personalizing every single touch point is 3 years ago, we would have said it was impossible, like literally impossible. And so for now to be where we are and seeing how you've powered this, just the evolution in B2B marketing is pretty amazing. I want to revisit a topic that we started to touch on earlier, which was this concept of AI safety, this concept of AI governance. It's a new technology. We don't totally understand it yet. People don't totally understand it yet. There needs to be guardrails. How are you thinking about setting those guardrails without being overbearing, while still allowing for experimentation, still allowing for people to discover how to get value out of it?
right. I think one of my favorite questions that I have when I'm hiring for data science or AI roles, one thing I always ask is reliability the more important or the explainability the more important? So they're not extinct. They're not mutually. Both are needed, right? Because just because it's reliable doesn't mean that it is, what it is. You cannot explain it. So we want both of them. Similarly, the tolerances for what is acceptable varies from business to right. So at Juniper, we are very strict about our brand, the perception, the voice, and even the truthfulness of the business, right. So we
Right.
are, I would rather say we are one of the higher, very strict in among the many. So we have guidelines defined by legal or bank and others. So we will keep that and also present in a certain way. So we have to develop models. So those kind of things. Uh, if it is like different audience, maybe more creative is okay. In some industries, you can go very creative, but depending on the industry, we are very strict about how our brand voice should be present, right? So so we develop these in-house models. So it's more like governance from setting top down from LIT or GA governance council setting up the guidelines for uh, what to use and what not to use, and then
Right.
repeating that same time. Like many a time, I have to go tell them you cannot just because
Right.
the feature available in Copy.ai or in chat in our case. Because
Yeah.
why? That's how corporate was, right? So it's not technology limitation. Corporate doesn't, or we do not want to use it, right? So there could be misuse, there could be liability. So it is very important to educate people, where not to use this. So because, as I said, usages can be any, and we need to guard against and the potential. All. So, so it is both educating technology to implement those guardrails to additional checks, safety checks, and all that, and really a good policy driven by corporate standards. I think it's a combination of all. But from a technology standpoint, it is very interesting because this is something very close to my heart about safety, right? So, and then when I say safety, it is reliability, truthfulness, and explainability, right? So, why something happened the way it happened, and how reliable that is, and all those kind of things. So, we were experimenting with those. It could be rule based movement, or you can try and model yourself and all that kind of thing. So, what we do is in marketing, when the output comes, pass it through this model, in-house model that we have, which flags it, right? So, hey, it needs a stricter human review and all that. Most of the time, we use the tools for generating the copies of something, and then a human will review it.
Sure.
Or you take an approved message, so which is already reviewed, vetted, and all. Then you use that to do hyper. So it is a derivative content. You are taking an approved piece of content in these guidelines, you can modify it for hyper. So it is a very fluid area, and one should be very aware of pitfalls of misusing AI technology and the impacts.
That's right. And the important point here is you're not just policing it for the sake of policing it or because you have this control that you want to have. It's because you need to create a great experience for the end user. And it's very, very easy to, misuse AI and get a bad output. The prompting has to be great. The configuration has to be great. The data foundation it's built on has to be really solid. Otherwise, you're going to be pretty let down. And unfortunately, that's been a lot of people's experience with AI. They'll go to a Copilot and they'll say, "Write me a blog post about this topic." And of course, the blog post is terrible because it's not actually configured in any meaningful way. And so, like this governance is extremely important. And having practitioners like yourself who have so much experience doing this with so many different types of technology, like Juniper is very lucky to have you. And I'm curious now, like you've talked about the projects you've brought to life. What's exciting to you about the future? Are you at the liberty to discuss any projects that are on the
Yeah,
horizon?
there's one which is very, very close and I'm very excited about it is about agentic framework. And I know that this is um, all the rage in the market at this point in time, but we were working on agentic idea almost. So, and that when I say agentic, it is a multi-generation growth that we have had, and it is about um, taking these decision making and having a agentic framework and LLM to take those decisions without hard coding some of those. Right? So our idea is not about task composability or task breakdown and executing a simple thing. We are thinking far ahead in terms of it's more like a autopilot for business. So if you take any examples to marketing data, I can give you an example of marketing. But our idea is that if you have an operating system, and I like the way how Copy.ai created like Salesforce, GTM, and all, it is also similar, but the idea is to monitor the data and take action as the changes in the data is. So it could be a new need coming into the system, something happened with one of your customer, all those, and those changes, you should be able to react to it in a decision. So, and the way tell this everybody is that it is autopilot for your. So from co-pilot to autopilot is what I keep telling. And if you imagine in the commercial airline industry today, 90% of the flying is done by autopilot.
Right.
Humans will come in the critical phase, right? So it is not like, oh, humans are replaced. That's a different debate. But even in today, the safest way, your flight 90% of the time is flown by an autopilot. Similarly, what if you have an operating system for business that's always listening, monitoring, and correcting things, and give feedback to the human so that they can do a higher order of thinking, and take decisions which actually drive better results rather than getting bogged down by this matter. So uh, that is the vision that we have, and we are working on it. I'm very excited about it. I keep evangelizing about this. Agentic is not just one fancy word for task breakdown or task composability alone. It has much more than it is a complex operating system for you.
Amazing. Amazing. Where can people go, Srini, to learn more about you, to learn more about Juniper? Are you cooking up anything here?
So on my LinkedIn profile, Srinivas Attili is there. We are working on a couple of blogs about the accomplishments that we have done. One would be Juniper. This would be like review publishing. So, but the idea is to evangelize the concept. And the adoption of AI is not all funky. It's not all good. So, so people should understand, because I always say that I play devil's advocate more than the technology, right? So, one need to understand the boundaries where that adoption is taking place, and we should, So the best place would be my LinkedIn, and we are currently publishing few blogs about our work projects.
Those will be incredibly valuable resources, just leeching all the information, all the knowledge that you've accrued over a 20 plus year career in this space in 1,000 words is going to be so valuable. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time today. This has been an incredible conversation. I'm sure the audience is going to find it extremely useful. And that is a wrap for this episode of Future Proofed. Srinivas Attili from Juniper, you're the best. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you guys for having me.